you, man. You. Seriously, man.
Hey, my name is Christian Bass Knight, and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you haven't yet already, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post more Asian swing updates like this. After a couple of days of rain-riddled action in Shanghai, this morning we had some fiery encounters, first with France's Tiafoe during his third round match against Roman Saffiulin. If you watched this match, then you kind of saw that there was quite a bit of tension building up within Francis. Much of that came from him missing out on opportunities to really win this match in straight sets, as he was first up a set in a break with multiple game points to consolidate that break in set number 2, but he just could not. Then at 4-all in the second set, Tiafoe had 3 break chances to serve for the match, but he could not close out, and he ultimately lost that second set. Towards the end of set number 2 at 5-6, 15-30, Tiafoe received a time violation warning just as he was about to serve. Now, this was a bit of a tight call because the chair umpire, Jimmy Pinagrote, I'm sorry, Jimmy, if I'm butchering your last name, but Pinagrote called it as soon as the clock struck 0, which was pretty fast, not gonna lie, but clearly Pinagrote is a stickler to the rules, especially with this service clock. Francis was not happy about this at all, and after he lost that second set, he hit a ball off to the side in rage to receive a code violation warning. When he complained to the umpire about that call during the changeover in between sets, the chair pretty much paid him no mind at all, which likely pissed off Francis even more. Now fast forward to 5-6, love 30 in the deciding set. Francis took a pause to cough before serving, but that did not stop the chair umpire from giving him a time violation, but this time it meant that he lost his first serve since he already received a time violation warning earlier in the match. Francis ended up winning that point, so he wasn't that affected by the call. However, at 5-all in the deciding set tiebreak, Francis took a little bit of extra time in between points, and he tossed the ball, not really intending to hit it, but the shot clock went to 0, and the umpire issued another loss of serve. This time, though, Francis did ultimately lose that point to go down the match point, and then Saffiulin sealed the victory with an ace to progress to the round of 16. After shaking hands with the Russian, Francis let the umpire have it.
Fuck you, man. You. Seriously, man. Fuck you. You fuck me, man. How you gonna do that? What? All these guys are enjoying entertainment. You fucked the match up. Great job. 3 hours. I'm battling. I'll be on the blacklist on my matches. Never again.
That was definitely a lot. Francis is for sure going to get a hefty fine from the ATP for all of that, which is very much deserved because he cussed that umpire out, y'all. You can hear also there towards the end where Francis said that Pinagrote was going to be blacklisted from umpiring all of his matches. A vast majority of people sided with the umpire there on that time violation call at 5-all in the breaker because from the looks of it, Francis had no intention to even serve with that missed toss. It was kind of just like a toss. Francis likely tried to take advantage of that little loophole of where the serve clock resets after a player tosses the ball up, but they catch it due to like it being a bad toss. However, a few people did come to Francis's defense and they said that the umpire's ego got in the way of the match there and that Jimmy should have just not made the time violation call at such a crucial juncture in the match at 5-all in the breaker. I do think the umpire was being a bit OD'd there with the time violation calls, but some chair umpires are simply more strict than others when applying this rule. Carlos Alcaraz actually, last week, he received a time violation loss of serve in Beijing, and he's normally one of the fastest players on the tour in between points. I do believe the umpires need to be a little bit more lenient when enforcing the shot clock rule, especially considering how it's the end of the season and players are even more worn out with it being an Olympic year. But that still does not excuse Tiafoe's horrible behavior at all and him cussing out the umpire like that. It's unacceptable. He just went on and on and on for minutes after the umpire even left the court. He was just cussing and cussing. He was pissed. Now, players are growing to be a little bit more skeptical of umpires after we witnessed some pretty bad mistakes this summer. Francis was the victim of a bad call himself in Montreal when his opponent Alejandro Tabilo missed a ball long, but since Hawkeye Live malfunctioned, they were forced to replay the point, according to Mohamed Lahyani. The same exact thing happened to Taylor Fritz in Cincinnati, not to mention the whole Draper Auger Aliassime double fault gate in that same tournament, and then the wild Denis Shapovalov default. Also, even here in Shanghai, an umpire mistakenly awarded Flavio Cobolli an extra point during his second round match against Stanislav Wawrinka. In this case with Francis, I saw some people even try to say that umpires should face repercussions for their mistakes. Now, while I do believe that particular Montreal incident with Tiafoe, it might have added to Francis's distrust of chair umpires, Jimmy Pinagrote here did not make a clear mistake, and he did not deserve to be cussed out like that at all. I gotta call a spade a spade. A few people also didn't like how the umpire essentially brushed off Francis's complaints and even ignored them at times. Yes, that's not the best look, but even I've always said that if I were an umpire and I were in their shoes and I believe the player was just yapping on and on unfairly and unjustly, I'd do the same thing and be more firm and ignore them low key. I just think it comes down to Jimmy kind of just being tired of the back and forth. It happened on multiple occasions, and he in his mind felt that he was right, so he just didn't want to hear any more of it. And I know just some people might agree with that, some people might disagree with that. It is what it is. By the way, while I was recording this video, Francis did issue an apology on his Instagram story where he said, "I really apologize for the way I acted tonight. That is not who I am and not how I ever want to treat people. I let my frustration in the heat of the moment get the best of me, and I'm extremely disappointed with how I handled the situation. That's not acceptable behavior, and I want to apologize to the umpire, the tournament, and the fans. I'll be better for y'all." So there's his apology. You know, it's a good thing that Francis did issue an apology and that he knows that he was wrong in that situation, and now time to move forward. Some people also compared Tiafoe's outburst today to Alexander Zverev's 2022 Acapulco 500 whole tirade where he physically threatened an umpire. I think that those are two completely different situations and they really shouldn't be compared. I feel like more or less Andrei Rublev yelling at an umpire, the line judge, is more comparable in my opinion, but even still, I think Tiafoe took it a little bit too far and cussing him out repeatedly that many times after the match. Speaking of Zverev though, he got into it with Mohamed Lahyani, a veteran chair umpire, after the umpire Lahyani correctly called a double bounce on the German at 5-all in the first set of his match against Talon Griekspoor. After whining, Zverev started hurling curse words towards Lahyani and saying that the umpires are effing up the tournament.
How are you calling that? How on earth are you calling that? I got the ball completely clean.
You guys umpires are fucking up the whole tournament this year.
Completely. Carlos Bananas completely messed up Stan's match today. The guy who did Tiafoe's match completely messed up Tiafoe's match, and now this.
After Lahyani issued a code violation warning for those curse words, Zverev complained some more, saying that he played 80+ matches this year, so Lahyani shouldn't have made the double bounce call.
Offense, I've played more than 18 matches this year, with injuries, with illness, with everything. Yes. And I cannot be bothered to go to China and in October, so for you to screw up this. I cannot, this is not possible. I've been playing for 9 months now.
After Griekspoor held 4-6-5, Zverev let Lahyani have it even more, going as far as saying that umpires are the reason why he is slamless.
I am losing because of your guys' mistake. I'm here running my ass off. With the honest, you guys start your mistakes. You guys decide the whole match. You guys decide the outcome of tournaments every week. What am I putting the effort in for?
Alexander,
What am I doing it for then? What am I doing it for?
It's enough now, Alexander.
It's enough now because you're sitting on a comfortable chair while I'm running my ass off at 9 p.m. And I've been doing it for 9 months now this year.
That right there is exactly why Alexander Zverev has no slam title to his name. He wants to blame everyone but his own self for him not stepping up and winning a slam in the big occasions. He said every Grand Slam final loss he's had is because of the umpire's mistakes. Bro, you've been in 2 Grand Slam finals, and he's referring to that Roland Garros final from this year against Carlos Alcaraz, where Carlos hit a second serve called out by a linesperson on break point, but that was ultimately corrected to good by the chair. Zverev, he lost it in that point, and the Hawkeye did show the mark being marginally wide, but Hawkeye is on clay especially is not 100% accurate. Regardless, I don't think Zverev would have won that match because his mental toughness to me is the main reason why he loses these slam finals. That's why he lost his first slam final at the 2020 US Open despite having a 2-0 lead over Dominic Thiem and coming within points from winning the match. It just comes off as very spoiled and entitled behavior from Alexander Zverev. And he mentioned he played a whole bunch of tennis and him being tired. So sure, he might have a shorter fuse with him playing all the tennis that he has played this year. But to do all that and berate Lahyani over that one single point is insane. Not to mention, Mohamed was correct. Mohamed is a better man than me because if I were in that chair and Zverev was going off at the mouth at me like that, let me just keep it nice and cute and say that I would have ignored him like that umpire did Francis today. Unlike Tiafoe, though, Zverev did win his match today, beating Greek Spore 7-6, 2-6, 7-6. He'll now face David Goffin for a spot in the quarterfinals. Holger Rune and Taylor Fritz will also play their match that's above them in the draw. That'll be their third meeting, and the head-to-head is currently tied at 1 apiece. Novak Djokovic, he dismissed Flavio Cobolli 1-2 today, and he meets Saffiulin now in the round of 16. The winner of that match meets the winner of 19-year-old Jakub Mensik and 9th seed Grigor Dimitrov. Up top, the most intriguing matchup to me is between world number 1 Jannik Sinner and Ben Shelton, but Tsitsipas Medvedev will be a treat too for sure. Medi leads the head-to-head 9-4 over the Greek. Carlos Alcaraz, meanwhile, he seeks revenge over Gael Monfils after Monfils beat him in the Cincinnati Open opening round for Carlos earlier in the year. And then Tommy Paul also looks to get his lick back over Thomas Bach after the Czech eliminated him in Tokyo last week. Moving over to Wuhan, where the women are playing their 1000 tournament over there, I made a short about this, but Polish player Magda Linette had an interesting moment with the Chinese crowd following her opening round win over Ludmila Samsonova. When she arrived in Wuhan a couple days ago, Linette tweeted, "The virus database has been updated," and she doubled down on that on her IG story. Clearly, the Chinese fans, they caught wind of this because right before Linette's on-court post-match interview, the crowd, they jeered at her and they yelled at her to apologize.
How do you feel about your performance?
I know I offended some of you guys, so I really want to...
Okay, talk about your performance. Yes.
And thank you so much for being still so nice to me, so thank you so much.
他说谢谢。好，那我们今天的采访就到此结束了。Thank you, thank you.
As you can see there, Magda was trying to apologize, but the interviewer was having none of it. Now, while I do think it's good that Linette tried to make up with the crowd and apologize, I don't get why some people are saying that the crowd is in the wrong for expressing how they feel. It was a very ignorant thing, I think, for Linette to post, knowing that Chinese people, especially those in Wuhan, have dealt with a lot of devastation through COVID-19. Ironically enough, Paula Badosa, she faced backlash for this photo her coach posted of her while they were in Beijing for the China Open, where she put chopsticks to her eyes, as many people interpreted that as her mocking Asian people. Badosa later apologized on Twitter for that, but she later withdrew from her Wuhan opening round match against Ayla Tomljanovic, citing a stomach flu. But to be honest, I think she saw all the smoke that Linette got from her ignorant post and didn't want the crowd on that tail. In Wuhan tomorrow, center court will open play with Haley Baptiste going up against Wimbledon champion Barbora Krejcikova. We'll also see the return of top seed and two-time reigning champion Aryna Sabalenka, who takes on Katerina Siniakova. She's followed by Coco Gauff, Kim Wen-jang, and Jasmine Paolini. Perhaps the most interesting matchup of them all, though, would be between 17-year-old and 16th seed Mira Andreeva, who will be playing her elder sister Erica Andreeva for the very first time. The 20-year-old Erica is the lower ranked of the two at 70th in the world, and she is a lucky loser, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if she got this win over her younger sister. She has a little bit more variety than Mira does, and of course, I'd assume that she knows her game very well. These two are pretty young too, so hopefully it'll be the start of a brand new budding sibling rivalry, although judging from Venus and Serena, they might not play their best tennis against each other because of them literally playing each other, their siblings. But I just hope that it's a better rivalry than the Pliskova sisters gave us. That is all I have for this video, and let me know, of course, what y'all thought about Tiafoe and Zverev's outburst. Were they dead wrong there, or do you feel like the umpires were in the wrong? Also, there have been calls for Francis to face a steeper punishment in addition to the fine, as some people feel that he should be suspended for a couple of tournaments. Let me know if you think that that's warranted or if you think that that's a little bit overkill. Again, make sure you all subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post more updates on whatever fine Francis will ultimately get. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support, and I'll see y'all next time here on Christian's Court.